a Super Bowl champion, two-time Pro Bowl wide receiver, Emmanuel Sanders. Where have you been?
What up, Kay? How you doing?
I'm good. It's great to see you. What's new?
Not much, man. Just coaching. I'm Coach Sanders these days more than Emmanuel Sanders, the football player or an analyst. But I haven't did this in a while, man. I'm actually excited.
Good. Wait. What are you coaching to fill me in?
Yeah, so I coach my son now. So I got a youth football team. I got a 7-on-7 team. We played in a tournament this past weekend out in Denver. We ended up losing to last year's national champions. But yeah, man, I'm enjoying that now. Dion got Coach Prime, so I guess I could take Coach Sanders. You know what I mean?
Not bad. It's not bad. What have you learned about yourself doing that? Going from obviously playing at the highest level in the NFL to being the coach. Is it like a reinvigorated love for the game? What is that like?
Oh, listen, it's headaches and anxiety. Trying to get little Johnny to get lined up. I was telling my guys the other day because we were playing flag, and I said, "You guys have no idea what I expect and what y'all are giving me right now." And the other coaches just started laughing because once you at the level of the NFL and you got to go back down to 10-year-old football, it's like you got to grow a lot of patience, and I'm starting to learn that.
Well, I love that about you, but you were always an analyst and you're going to hook me up with some of your knowledge right now, which I love because we've got big receiver action all over the league right now. Even this morning, Jalen Waddle signs a huge contract extension with the Dolphins. Emmanuel, he got 3 years, nearly $85 million,
Yeah.
76 million guaranteed. That puts him, I believe, top five highest paid receivers. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely putting some icy hot on my knees right now. I think I'm gonna try to make a comeback because I mean these receivers is just getting paid crazy money right now. I mean, $28 million a year for Jalen Waddle. I don't want to call him a number two wide receiver because obviously on other teams he might be a number one, but I mean Tyreek Hill is the number one wide receiver for the Dolphins. So I mean, these guys just getting paid, but you want to know what? Like, I'm happy for him. Like, he's deserving of that money, and I want everybody to come into the league and get paid. But I mean, you look at the numbers right there: 32 million. AJ Brown, Amon. Like these guys are just getting paid, and it just makes me want to go back into the league. I told myself, like, I would never be one of those receivers that would say, "Oh man, I wish I could go back in the league." But now I see how Jerry Rice and Chad Ochocinco, how those guys was feeling when I was getting paid because they weren't getting paid that much money. But now I'm sitting back and I'm one of those old guys that sit back and saying, "Man, I wish I could still play right now to get that kind of money because that's a beautiful thing."
Is it the money or is it the kids not listening to you that wants you to run back to the NFL more?
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
A little bit of both.
Well, listen, could you, what would it take for you to get back out there? Like, what would that look like? Is it completely impossible?
No, it's impossible. It's impossible.
No, I
Look,
hate
I'm
that.
all about. I'm all about. I've had my time. Well, when I retired, I was the oldest receiver in the league, and it's crazy because when you're in the National Football League, you think that you're gonna be there for a long time, and then you hit this point where you look up and you're 34, and then you got 21-year-old or 22-year-old receivers coming in, and you're like, dude, like I can't keep up with these young guys. Like I'm 34, they're 22, they can run all day,
Yeah.
and that's when I
I
that's
gotta
when
tell
I
you,
realized like, it's time for me to
I
hang
gotta
it
tell
up.
you, Jerry Rice played till he was 42. I think you got 5 years left in you, my friend.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm good. Kay, I mean, what you want to see me come back, Kay? I,
No,
I got a
I would
couple
love to see you
plays.
come back. I feel like I
I
do.
got a
I
couple.
miss you around the NFL. So if we get you on TV, which I'm sure is coming up, if you feel like doing it, you did it, of course, when you wrapped up your amazing career. So I would just like to see that. I miss seeing you. But I'm going to ask you a tougher question because, of course, you're going to say Waddle get paid. Of course, we all get paid. We want every player to get paid, especially a wide receiver. But there's a bunch of really great ones next in line to get paid. So
Yeah.
out of Jefferson, CD, Chase, Ayuk, and Higgins, who do you think deserves to be the highest paid receiver in the league?
Oh, I mean, we all know that. Hey, for the viewers that's watching, you already know what I'm gonna say. It's the top receiver in the game, and that's Justin Jefferson. He deserves to be the highest paid. But I mean, what is that contract gonna look like? Like that's gonna be ridiculous. But then again, you named the guy CD. I mean, he broke the Cowboys, franchise record last year too. So he's up there too. So I mean, it's a lot of big contracts that's getting ready to come up, and I'm excited to see what they look like.
The players, and by the way, we were talking about Justin Jefferson, seeing what Waddle got, it's got to be 40 plus, right? 40 plus a year.
Right? He's gonna do a lot of gritty to the bank. He's gonna gritty a lot to the bank.
The players are in OTAs right now, which I don't think you miss at all. We know there's always some kind of game or competition going on in the locker room. Is there something that got heated in a locker room back in your day that y'all played?
Oh man, heated. I remember when I was with the Steelers, we used to play trash basketball. We used to take tape and make tape that they used to wrap your ankle with, and we would make a basketball. We would have like 3-point contest. We would play knockout with it, and that was fun. But then when I got to the Broncos, it was more Connect Four. And obviously, you guys are listening to the Connect Four champion of the Denver Broncos. I won a Super Bowl, but I just want to throw it out there. I need like a chain or a ring that says Connect Four champion. As you could tell, I was competitive about it. And then we used to play dominoes. We used to play a lot of dominoes. Like some of my best memories with the Broncos is playing with Von Miller, Aqib Talib, Chris Harris. And I mean, we're just competing. We got 5 minutes to be out on the field for practice, but yeah, we got to finish this game. So, those were the times. And that's what I miss the most about the league is the camaraderie in the locker room with the guys.
Did you ever play Peyton Manning in Connect Four? I can't believe he lost to you and he took that well.
And are you kidding? Peyton was up in the office meeting with the offensive coordinators. He wanted to know what was going on. Peyton was doing his job, right? Making sure everything is tight, being Peyton Manning, just being Peyton Manning. But I was the other night. Maybe at some point I'll bring it up and see if I can get, a little competition going with him in Connect Four. That'd be fun.
That would be fun. I'd love to see that. There's quite a competition going on in Denver with the quarterbacks this summer. And then you look at, they've got Cortland Sutton there. They get rid of Jerry Jeudy. He goes on his own way, hoping he can reclaim and live up to his talent that we all know that he has and his potential. Do you think that they have enough in that receiver room in Denver to help make it work with whoever wins the starting gig?
Yeah. Yeah, I think they do. I spoke with Cortland the other day. He's out in Florida right now, training locked and loaded. He's one of the top receivers in the game. I mean, if you just give him an opportunity, I mean, he's gonna make plays for you. Tim Patrick, I play with Tim Patrick. Tim Patrick is a guy that's gonna go full speed. He's gonna give you everything he's got every single play. They got the young guy Troy Franklin coming in, and then Mims. I actually enjoyed watching Mims last year. I mean, with the touches that he had, he made the most of them, even in the special teams play. He was special on kickoff return and that sort. So it's going to be interesting to see. Obviously, it's going to come down to the quarterback play and Sean Payton making sure they're on the right page. But I think in the receiver room, I think they're going to be just fine.
Knowing Coach Payton as well as you know him. We're hearing Zach Wilson, who he brought in, obviously a talented guy. He could get the best out of him. We hear he's been impressing. They draft Bo Nix, which means that Coach Payton had to really like him. Knowing Coach as well as you do, what is he looking for? Like, what is it that he's looking for when making the decision on the week 1 starter?
He's looking for the next like Drew Brees. And when I was out there in 2020, that was a COVID year, and I just remember, I ended up missing 2 games that COVID year because I ended up catching it, and we had guys in and out. Mike Thomas was hurt that year. He was literally playing with some rookies at one point, and him and Sean Payton, the way that they kind of connected and they were one on the field in terms of Drew knew exactly what Payton wanted, and Payton knew that Drew was going to put us in the right situation, and then we still won games. And that's Peyton's offense. He likes to stay ahead of the defensive coordinator. He wants a quarterback that yeah, you can throw it down the field, but also make the right reads, check the ball down when need to be, and just give me positive yards and keep me ahead of the sticks. And everything that I'm hearing about Bo Nix is that's what he does. Now, I don't know much about Zach Wilson. Truthfully, I don't know if we've seen the real Zach Wilson because, with the Jets, he really didn't have, in my opinion, the right coach in terms of offensive coordinator. That's just my opinion. So it's going to be interesting to see what Sean Payton can do with both of those guys. I mean, it's a project, but man, I said it and I mean it. For those two guys that have Sean Payton as an offensive coordinator, what a blessing.
Which quarterback would you go with? And there's also Stidham. Jarrett Stidham's there. He was there. He's familiar with Sean Payton's offense from last year. Who would you go with? Wilson with some experience, but a bit of a project. The new Bo Nix, who's might be the next Drew Brees, like you're saying, or Stidham.
I mean, my son's screensaver has been Bo Nix for the past year. So if he watches this, he's gonna be upset, But I like Bo Nix. I liked him at Oregon. I mean, the transition from college to the NFL, we'll see how he does with that. But I'll know more. Training camp is probably about 10 minutes from me right now, so I'll be around. I'll be around the facility watching, and I'll know more then. But it's hard for me to pick right now.
I want to ask you a little bit about the Niners because we have an analyst from Pro Football Focus, the numbers, the grades, all of that. And he ranked the quarterbacks using metrics and all of that. And he got Brock Purdy in the 4th tier of quarterback rankings, number 13 among all quarterbacks, behind Trevor Lawrence, behind Jordan Love. Purdy's still a polarizing guy somehow. Do you think that's a fair spot for Purdy, or would you put him above or below 13?
Yeah, I don't think that's a fair spot. I mean, as far as Purdy, I just don't understand why people just keep sleeping on him. I was talking to Debo last year just about Purdy, and I said, man, what is it about Purdy? And he says, man, you should see him in the huddle. He comes in the huddle. He plays with a certain confidence. He comes in and he believes. He makes other guys believe. And I play with quarterbacks like that, and that's the type of guy that the Niners have. And I mean, last year, he was a couple plays from being a Super Bowl champion. Would that ranking still be the same? But everything that I'm hearing is just keep sleeping on Purdy. He's gonna keep proving him wrong. But man, what a heck of a story to go from Mr. Irrelevant to being relevant and going to the Super Bowl last year. And I'm rooting for Purdy. I hope they finish it this year and go and win it all.
I hope they do too. And like that means a lot coming from you because you played with some you played with the legends, Emmanuel. Like, do you ever think about that? Roethlisberger, Peyton, I'm sure you think about it, but I mean, like, I looked at the list this morning and was like, Breeze, Josh Allen. It's amazing. And so to hear you speak so highly of Brock means a lot. It resonates. And I was curious, out of those guys I just mentioned, which one do you wish you could go catch one pass from in a game right now?
Probably Peyton. Peyton again. 2014 was just beautiful. 2014 was just beautiful. And just playing with Peyton and it's like toilet paper just dropping in your hands. It was just so easy. And sometimes I think it was kind of like, golly type in terms of like, I'm running and like it was so many perfect balls. But then I think about Josh Allen too. I mean, that's just hard. I think about Ben. It's hard, man. I've been blessed to play with a lot of great quarterbacks, man. And I mean, what a ride I had, what a heck of a career I had, and what a blessing it was to play with so many great guys. And I mean this honestly. As good as they were football players, they were even better teammates. From Drew Brees to Josh Allen to Peyton Manning, man. I love those guys, not just because of what they did on the field, but also their character and how they carried themselves, and how they they looked after me and my family.
It's beautiful. How much thought do you give to the fact that you almost played with Tom?
A lot of thought. Tom, and not only that, after I left the Niners, sometimes I'm like, man, I should just went and play with Pete Mahomes. I'm like, man, I could have 4 Super Bowl rings right now, but I mean, just to play with those guys. But I think about stuff like that. But hey, sometimes you can think about it, but you gotta look back and be like, you know what, like, man, hey, job well done, and truly a blessing.
I really feel like you and Tom would have made magic. I know that the Steelers matched the offer sheet, but like that would have been, I mean, if you added that to the list of quarterbacks you did play with, like it's insane. Like you had it was the best situation ever. I would have loved to see Tom throw to you.
I try my hardest to go out there too.
Sure. I'm sure. What do you make of this Steelers team? Like when you look at it, is any thoughts? There's a lot of fans that say they're just at 500, they're mid or they're whatever. And then I look at them and I say, but you have Mike Tomlin. Like it's so impressive year in, year out. I guess I'll ask you this, your thoughts on it, but also if you could add one receiver, and there's rumors about that, who would you add?
Oh man, Mike Thomas. He's a free agent right now. I was watching George Pickens. I mean, he had a heck of a year last year, but is that receiver room deep enough? Like that's my only thing. So who would they add? Obviously, Mike hasn't been healthy, but every time I think about Mike, I think about a healthy Mike Thomas, making plays. Not the past 3 years, but when I was with him in New Orleans, the way that this guy prepares. I mean, I've never met a guy besides myself and Antonio Brown who even at practice every single rep he's going full speed. I remember a few times in New Orleans we had walkthroughs and Mike's still running full speed at walkthroughs, and I'm going full speed and I'm looking at him like you're crazy. He's looking at me like I'm crazy. So I think that even that addition to that receiver room, they're kind of young. They got Allen Robinson, who's coming up on year 10, I think. But I think that'd be good. But I'm actually looking forward to seeing, Russell Wilson, in that system and see what they can do. But man, is that a tough division? I mean, you look at, the Browns, you look at the Bengals, and then you come back and you're looking at Baltimore. I mean, that's going to be tough. That's going to be tough.
Jair Alexander opened we got to talk a little defense. I just want to rile you up a little bit, Emmanuel. He opened up his media availability yesterday and he said, the best corner in the league has entered the chat. Is he right?
Jair funny, man. This dude's been talking smack. I've played against him a few times. He talks so much. Can I cuss on here? He talks so much shit, but he bags it up though, man. Because he was talking smack when we were getting ready to play against him. I mean, he came out and I mean, I went against him a few times, and I was like, I get it, because I mean, his footwork, he's smart. He reminds me a lot of Chris Harris. I played with Chris Harris, and Chris Harris, you could try to get him to be quiet, but even if you beat him or he gives up a big play, he's not going to lose his confidence. And I think a lot of corners should have that confidence. I think all players should feel like they're the best. But in my eyes, I think he's top 5, but I think Sauce Gardner is the best corner in the league, if you ask me.
Why?
Oh, man, Sauce is just he's a lanky corner. I didn't have the opportunity to go against him, but I mean, from everything that I hear from the players, I mean, he's a ball hawk, big corner. I always hated going against big corners. I mean, they got those long arms. The thing is you got to get off the jam, but once you get them going, and you're running full speed and you stop on a dime, most big corners, they have a hard time transitioning to be able to stop. But what I'm hearing from Sauce is he can do it all. So, and the numbers are showing that. So. That's why I give him that title for number 1, just based off what I've been hearing and what I've been seeing.
Who's the corner? You say you didn't like going up against lengthy corners like Sauce. Who do you miss? Who's the one cornerback that you can now say that you miss battling out there with the most?
Oh man, I mean, if that's the case, then that's the corners who I won a Super Bowl 50 with, Akeem and Chris Harris. Those are battles at practice that will literally get to throwing blows because we were both going at it. But in the game, Jalen Ramsey, just seeing these great corners and getting to go against them. I remember even Darrelle Revis in 2014, we were playing against the Patriots, me going up against him, and we're both looking at each other and we're both exhausted. We're exhausted because he's playing man to man the whole game. And I mean, we're just going at each other, like going at each other. I still remember looking at him and him breathing hard and me breathing hard. And I'm looking at him like, dude, I'm not giving up. I'm going to keep going at you. But to go against, a Hall of Famer like that and to be productive, I think, I had 151 yards that game. Not all the yards was against him.
I was going to say that game we just showed you, you like literally torched the earth on that game.
Yeah, but it was a battle though. I didn't get all those yards against him, but it was cool when I look back on my career to sit back and say, what does Darrelle Revis have and what makes him so special? I know exactly what it is. I mean, he has great feet. His football IQ is up there, and it's hard to run past him. And he has a technique like Mayweather, in which it's hard to crack the code on it.
I'm surprised you didn't say Josh Norman.
Oh, that's my dog too. That's my dog. But I think that's more
Odell. Some battles. Am I wrong?
Yeah, that's more Odell though. That's more Odell. You remember that battle?
I love that you're smiling and we're like recanting these crazy things. Yeah, you and Norman definitely had some battles that I remember. You guys got into it a bunch, which we love. We have Chris Harris on the show. Last one for you. We have Chris Harris on the show on Monday. I would like you to ask him a question. Let's get me off the camera and if I'll show him this on Monday. What should I ask him, or what do you want to ask him?
Oh, what shall I ask Chris Harris? Man, first of all, man, congratulations on your retirement, man. You had a heck of a career, and I'm proud of you, dude. And not only that, man, you got to tell him some cool stories about that Super Bowl 50 team, because you know how that locker room was. So tell us a cool story about that Super Bowl 50 team that you remember.
I love that. All right. Best wide receiver room in the NFL right now. Go.
Oh, man, that's tough. That's tough because I look at the Texans with with Diggs going over there, Tank Dell, and Nico. But then I look at the Titans and I'm like, man, Calvin Ridley, Boyd. And now what they're saying about Burt, I mean, this is just, that receiving room is just ridiculous. Obviously, the quarterback play has to get there. But if I'm a quarterback, that's the receivers I want to be thrown to. Because I remember watching Calvin Ridley in Atlanta when I was with the Saints, and he was running. Like, I see route running as an art. And when I tell you, it was like Picasso. Like, I literally got up off the bench and I was standing up just watching him run routes. That's how special I think Calvin Ridley is. So, I look at that receiving core, and then you look at the Dolphins too. So, those are my top three for sure. It's hard to pick 1, 2, or 3. They got to prove it during the season.
Let's listen to Calvin Ridley talking about, you just mentioned it, Treylon Burks. Let's hear it. I want your reaction to this.
All right.
Like, seriously, bro, he's gonna be a stud. There's no worries in him. What I see, he's like Julio, AJ Brown. He's like T.O. Dude, that big, that fast, man. He's a stud, man. You don't gotta worry about it.
I hope he's right.
I praise.
Look, yeah, I hope he's right. Look, I'm like an OG, right? And I became an OG when I was in the league. And all those young guys is coming. I always say, man, I want everybody to walk out of National Football League with a pocket full of money and a great career. And I hope that for Burks. I hope that for Burks. He battled some injuries last year, but in that receiving room with those veterans, he's in a great place to succeed. But that's pretty cool that he said that about him.
Big praise. We'll see if Will Levis can drop the ball in his hands like toilet paper, like you had. It'll be all on a tall order for Will Levis. Emmanuel, you're the absolute best. Great to see you. Send love to your beautiful family. You have so many blessings. Like, you have everything you're saying about what you want for these guys in the NFL. I believe that you want it and you had it. So it's a beautiful thing.
Thank you, Kay. As always, thank you.